What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today we have a 10.1 final prediction list. So I made a video last week on the healers, and I did a lot of games this week in 2s, 3s, solo shuffle and all. So I want to give you guys my predictions on all of the specs going into the 10.1 patch starting tomorrow at this point. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys like, subscribe if you do like type of content. And let me just preface again, this is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree. I'm sure I'm wrong on some of these. I'm not an expert on all these classes, but just based on the games that I played and, you know, seeing people and hearing from other people as well, this is what we're going to go with. So we're going to kind of rapid fire these. I'll maybe give one or two reasons why I'm putting it there, and then we'll go from there. So we have our tanks already down here. If you are wondering why I don't have a D tier, I don't think there's a D tier class at the moment, but let's keep going. We're gonna start off here with Frosty K. I think Frosty K is gonna probably be a low B tier. It's kind of in the same spot it's been forever now. I feel like it's always like has like that really good one-shot go, but then it kind of has nothing else. You can work with, you know, various DHs, Evokers, Warriors, Woodwalkers maybe, but very gimmicky, not super consistent. But for that reason, we're gonna keep it at B tier. I think Unholy it's kind of on the edge of being an A tier. I would say more to an upper B tier. The new zombie build is really good. It's quite annoying, honestly. So if you guys don't know, they have these zombies that they spawn and they grip people into them. They pop everybody, they stun everybody for about 3 seconds and take 20% of their health. It's really annoying to deal with, honestly. But it's still, I don't think it's on the same par as some of these other melee. I think it's very good. Let's, you know, also again, B tier does not mean it's bad at all. B tier is still very good. I would say C tier is the quote unquote not so good. But B tier is just average, which I think DK is in that boat. DH, I'm gonna put it in A tier, possibly S tier after these buffs coming in tomorrow. We don't really know yet. We're gonna see how much of an impact they have to them. So I think I'm gonna put it. I think it's a safe A pick. A tier, potentially going to be an S tier depending on how good these buffs end up turning out to be. I am expecting Boomy DH to be one of the best, if not the best comp in the game in 3s. On that note, Boomy, I think Boomy's an S tier class right now, man. If like a very well played Boomy between the Cyclones, all of the different all their dots, they have more direct damage now. The Golden was buffed. They have Full Moon, 25% buff to Full Moon. Their off heals are phenomenal. I saw people hitting over 200k Swiftmens and regrowths. So their off healing is way better than what it was. So you're having you still have the high damage. You have the Cyclone, which is the best CC in the game now with the CC changes. It's the longest. It's one of the most effective long CCs that was not impacted by the nerfs. So I'm gonna put it in S tier for that. Feral. Believe it or not, I think I'm going to keep it in an S tier. I was kind of on the edge of it high A, but I think I'm going to actually put it as an S tier as well. The damage is so high. I don't know all of the changes that did come into play when it comes to Feral, but the damage felt really freaking good, man. I'm not going to lie. And they have that new talent where they clone and they get Instant Frenzy. It's going to be really useful for like for jungle, maybe Mage Feral. Just for honestly any comp where you could just set up a full clone into a frenzy, and it's just so impactful. And again, they're just doing so much damage. Resto Druid, I'm going to put at a B tier for now. I do think there is an argument for A tier. My gut just doesn't want to put it at an A tier right now because of some of these other healers. Reason is, like, the game is kind of slow right now, which our Druid definitely isn't as bad. Like, I think it's kind of like an A tier right now, but my prediction when the season kind of flushes out and everyone gets everything going, his sustained damage is really, really high, and I don't know if it's going to have the throughput of it. So again, this is the prediction. It can very well be an A tier if the game stays a little bit slow, but I'm expecting it to speed up quite a bit, and for that reason, I'm going to put it at a B tier. Devastation Evoker, sticking with C tier. I mean, it's just super gimmicky. There's not much else to it. It can be viable. I mean, DK Evoker is probably still going to be a thing, and you're just one-shotting people. I don't think it's by any means like just completely awful and unplayable, but it doesn't have a lot of comps and it's very gimmicky, so we're going to keep it as an C tier for that. Preservation Evoker, I'm going to put it at an A tier. I think, so currently the Preservation Evoker gameplay that I played was not that great. It didn't feel that great throughput-wise. I felt like I was struggling to heal a lot. I think their utility itself is gonna always carries over because a lot of it's time related, like golden hour and rewind, which kind of heals based on damage taken. So if your damage goes up, you're still going to be healing a lot. And the tier sets are really powerful for preservation. So I think I'm going to keep it at an A tier for now. BM Hunter, easy S tier, man. This shit does so much damage. It just does so much damage with, you know, obviously the same CC in the game. You can now no longer kick Revive Pet. So that's another reason to just absolutely crush it on the ladder. So I think that's an easy S tier pick there. Survival Hunter, I'm actually going to put Survival Hunter as an A tier. I think Survival Hunter is feeling real good, man. I've versed a few Survival Hunters. They did a lot of damage, man, and their tier set is revolving around their bombs, which is going to be which is their main source, one of their main sources of damage now. I think it's going to be very good. This could fall to a B tier. This is kind of like a, you know, a very not a very conservative pick, I guess you may say. But so it could be, you know, kind of bottom A, low or high B, I would say, kind of going in that boat. Marksman Hunter, I'm gonna put Marksman Hunter at a B tier. Marksman Hunter is kind of the same boat as it's been. Does a lot of damage. Doesn't have the best, like, you know, not as effective sustained damage as the other two Hunter specs, but it still has trap, and it still has its burst damage. But burst damage was also obviously hit a little bit with the crit change, so, and that's what it kind of flourished off of those one-shotty goes. But I definitely still think it's an average class. Mage, I'm gonna put Arcane Mage at. I'm gonna kind of bunch all these together here. I think I'm gonna put all three Mage specs in a B tier. I think Mage is definitely solid, but I don't think it's anything crazy. Like, I think it's a solid pick. Fire got a lot better when it comes to the flame cannons and the glass cannon build. So like the fireballs are freaking pumping, and even Pyroblast seems pretty deadly. I'm not gonna lie. And if you let them free cast, they literally pop off. Arcane Mage damage is really, really high, but it seems like they really kind of got like gutted on their PvP talents, and they don't have too much utility with that anymore. Great Massive Viz is nerfed, and which is like one of their biggest things. And then like it just seems like meh. It has really good damage. Obviously has a new polymorph talent, but I don't think it's above average by any means. I think it's a pretty average class. You'll see people play very well that are very skilled mages, but then you also see mages that get absolutely stomped. So I think B tier is perfect for what them. Mistweaver, I'm gonna put Mistweaver at S tier, and this is not talking about fist weaving. Fist weaving obviously just got pretty harshly nerfed, but I think casted Mistweaver is gonna do very well in this season as of right now. With the sustained damage going to be ramping up as I'm expecting it to. Mistweaver's throughput is just the best out of every healer, and for that reason, I think it's going to be definitely go for an S tier. The new Zen Sphere talent is really powerful as well. I haven't seen too many, you know, coordinated 3v3 games with Mistweavers, but the ones I did for Easton 2s and Solo Shuffle, the healing just felt really good, and like you had to go deep dampening to ever beat one. So I think it's going to be an S tier for that reason. Windwalker Monk, I think Windwalker Monk is going to be an A tier class as well. Windwalker Monk is doing an absurd amount of damage and has really good off heals. I am really curious to see how this new tier set works out for them, because they'll get like AoE Rising Sun Kick damage, which Rising Sun Kick hits for like 130k on like Season 1 health pools, which is freaking insane. And their off heals are really powerful as well, similar to kind of what Boomy did. So I think Windwalker is going to be an A tier. Holy Paladin, I'm also torn on Holy Paladin. I'm going to put it as a B tier for now. I think Holy Paladin, the throughput has got a lot better than what it was. You still kind of have a lot of the same issues. You're exposed to CC. You are your mana is not the best, and your offensive pressure is not the best. They also just nerfed melee wings for PvE reasons, so you might even fall off on melee wings even more. So I think I'm going to keep it at a B tier for now. It doesn't seem bad. Like, it's definitely viable, especially in specific comps, but it definitely feel like it gets outshined by some of these upper healers that we'll see. It's Prop Paladin. Ret Paladin. So Ret Paladin, I think I'm going to... This is another tough one, man. I'll put it at a high B tier. I think Ret Paladin's kind of in the same boat as where it was. It could be an A tier as well, man. We're going to keep it a B tier for now. Just because I really don't know. I think it's about B tier. It's really good is what it was, but the crit nerf definitely took it down a little bit, and the off heals are kind of getting outshined by some of these other hybrids nowadays. So I think it's a solid B tier. It's still very good spec. You know, again, B tier is not bad. B tier is just average, and I think that's a good. You know, we always want to aim for the most amount of classes in the B tier. That's when balance is better. All right, Discipline Priest. I think Discipline Priest is going to be S tier healer, man. If potentially even the best healer. From playing it myself a lot, it feels really, really good. The shielding, the healing, it feels really good. I am concerned to see what happens with the tier set. Losing the current tier set may impact like the shields and might make it a little bit harder. But at the moment, man, I was playing last night. I just played off stream for like 2 hours. I went from 2,500 to 3K in solo shuffle. I wish I did that during the season. But it felt really, really strong. And the new tier set is buffing their dot damage, which is going to buff their atonement indirectly and buff expiation and other things like that. So I think it's going to be an S tier, honestly. We have Holy Priest. I think Holy Priest would be... I don't think Holy Priest is unviable by any means, but I'm going to put it at C tier because I don't think it's as good as these two. And I just want to kind of separate them a little bit. Holy Priest is about the same as where it was. The only hope is that the tier set somehow is really good and it makes a really big impact for them, which is related to prayer mending. And yeah, we'll see what happens on that. Shadow Priest, I think Shadow Priest is going to be an A tier class. The damage is really good. The survivability got a lot better. Their heals do so much. They have like that. They're hitting like up to 150, 200k flash heals, and you know that's just something that they kind of fell off missing. They were pretty good with off healing, but now they got even better. And their Void Torrent spec does a lot of fucking damage, man. It's like ticking for 80k. I think it does like 4 ticks at 30-second cooldown. You can do some crazy damage with Shadow Priest. I think it's gonna be an A tier. It's got a lot of good comps as well. Asa Rogue, I'm kind of gonna get in the same boat with Rogue as it was Mage. I think they're all kind of in the same spot. Like, I almost want to put Sub Rogue. Sub Rogue's like bottom B. So as for the Rogue specs, Rogue doesn't feel bad by any means. I think again just outshined by some of these upper classes as well. I think they're all viable. They're all doing well. The blind nerf definitely hurt them, but you know, cheap shot is theoretically longer now. So you will have opportunity to still go for those triple cheap shots, especially if you're subtlety. And Asa Rogue did not seem bad on damage, neither did Outlaw Rogue. Sub Rogue damage did seem bad. So I think Sub Rogue is like kind of borderline. The reason I don't want to put it at C is like the utility is so freaking good. You just play with like a good enough DPS spec, and you'll probably make it work to an extent. Ellie Shaman. Ellie Shaman I think is an A tier, man. I think Ellie Shaman's an A tier. I was messing around a very little bit on it, and the damage is really high, man. Off healing got even better. The damage is, control of lava is baseline now, and you also can mess around like depending on the comp with the new Volcanic Surge talent, which is like when you hard cast lava. You have to hard cast Lava Burst, but it is 45% increased damage. Like I was doing like one-shot combos with Lava Burst into Stormkeeper into Meteor, and literally globaling somebody 100-0 in literally probably 1.5 seconds. Because everything hit at the same time. So I think it's gonna be really good, man. It's got everything. It's got the off healing. It does still, if Rogue ends up getting buffed or something like that, that will be the kind of the counter to it. But in a predicted caster meta, or pretty dominant caster meta, Elio usually does very well. So enhance as well. I'm surprisingly gonna put this enhance as an A as well. The proc rate on their ascendances is just like really pumping, really pumping. Obviously they still have their good off heals. They have the new Burrow talent to kind of keep them a little bit more defensive, like a pseudo ice block. And just again, the damage is so high. Those ascendance procs can just evaporate somebody. I keyed a few rated threes into like turbos and stuff, and the sustained damage was incredible. Like I could not heal it for my life of me. And if the damage is only going to ramp up higher, it's going to be really good. Resto Shaman, I think Resto Shaman is going to be an A tier. I'd probably put it above Evoker. Resto Shaman does kind of feel roughly the same, but I gotta say, man, I don't know exactly what happened to them. I'm not like too thorough into Resto Shaman, but like I was queuing to them in Solo Shuffle, and I was dominating Resto Shamans, when previously I was getting beat the heck up from Resto Shamans as Disc Priest, between all their, their sustained healing. But like there comes a part with like Resto Shaman when like if their hots don't heal enough and they're forced, once you go over that threshold where their hots are not enough and they're forced to hard cast a lot, that's when they start falling off real quick. And I think the sustained damage is like just getting there, so that the sustain, you might need to actually start hard casting a lot more than you were previously, and that's gonna hurt them big time. So it's definitely still think it's an A tier. It's still very good. Affliction Lock, I'm gonna put it at a C tier. The damage is still very good. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't seem like it fits into a lot of the like the meta. You may get lucky with if we do have a caster dominant meta. Afflock will do pretty well in that regard if you do run it with a certain comp, like running maybe Ellie Aff or Ellie or Aff Boomy maybe. So there are some matchups where it may actually do pretty well, but I think overall, it's kind of like Evoker. It's really niche, but it does do a lot of damage, man. By no means are these classes unplayable. Demon Lock, I'm putting Demon Lock as an S tier as well. I think Demon Lock's going nowhere. 8 damage is phenomenal. They do have to cast Dreadstalkers now. They're dogs, but they do more damage. And Tyrant, it's so funny seeing all these changes, hot fixes that come in, and they're like, oh, fix an issue where Tyrant was affected by this. And it's been like 7 of those. How overbuffed, unintentionally overbuffed has Tyrant been? I don't know. But the sustained damage seems incredible. Especially in 2s, man, like within like probably 2 to 3 minutes, it becomes unhealable to heal pet damage. Like behind a pillar, you're just dying from nothing. So I think it's going to be sticking as an S tier. Destro, I think is going to be the best spec in the game. Destro damage is freaking insane, man, and it's like you don't even need to cast. It's so crazy between I think it's Conflag damage, Shadow Burn damage, obviously Chaos Bolt as well, but like the amount of damage they're putting out is just phenomenal. And obviously they're still as tanky, and both Demo and Destro, you are getting affected by the Dark Pact buff, but Dark Pact and Soul Leech, because your health pools keep going up. And I don't know why they don't compensate those with nerfs, because they just keep buffing the health pool, which is buffing those abilities. So they just keep getting inherently tankier. Arms Warrior, I think Arms Warrior is going to be an S tier as well. I think Arms Warrior's damage is just really freaking high, man. It's super consistent. That's the biggest thing. It's consistent. It's not gimmicky. You can play with so many different... You can play with casters, you can play with melee. And they do have Shockwave now, so they can have Stormbolt and Shockwave again, which is a big difference, especially if you're going to be playing, like, you know, with a caster, maybe like Warrior Mage or Warrior Destro or Warrior Boomy. Things like that are going to be even better because having multiple stuns. Damage is just phenomenal. Can't go wrong with Arms Warrior. And I think Fury Warrior would be going down to the C tier. It's definitely not as good as it was. From what I'm told, they're getting 20 stack Slaughterhouses now, which would be very good, because it's only at 12 stacks right now, and it's really painful to heal through. Like, sometimes you just have to like CC through it and wait. But 20 stacking would be really powerful, so I don't think it's unplayable by any means. So just this is the tiers we got going here, and by no means again are these C tiers unplayable and these B tiers bad. I think B tier is perfect where you want to be. A tier is just a little bit above that, and S tier is kind of broken. Those are the really strong specs, but I think every spec on, especially B and up, is very viable to hit whatever rating goal you're looking for. So that's all we got, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace out.